Okay, so here's the deal. I recently just took a paleo-themed trip in a little bit of Colorado and in Utah, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about all of the cool dinosaur-related things that I did. Sound good? Sweet. Let's get right into it. So the first stop on our dinosaur-themed journey was located in Fruita, Colorado, in a little place called Dinosaur Journey. This place is tied deeply into my DNA. I used to go here all the time growing up. Every time we made a trip to Moab, Utah, this was one of the main stops that we would go to. Growing up, it was always filled with all kinds of animatronic dinosaurs, and it was very cool. Nowadays, the animatronic dinosaurs aren't really working like they used to. They're all kind of just stagnant there, but they're still here, which is awesome. I love to still see them. And honestly, the museum is completely different from how it was when I was younger. The last time I went here was back in 2015, so about 10 years. And a lot has changed. First of all, you walk straight in and there is a Ceratosaurus skeleton. I was so happy to see a Ceratosaurus skeleton because Ceratosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs. So I spent a lot of time here, just kind of like just looking at it, taking many pictures, taking many videos, just hanging out with it. Obviously, eventually I had to leave, but it was still very cool to see it. A lot of the rest of the museum is kind of the same as it was when I was younger. Like there's a Camptosaurus skeleton, which is absolutely huge and really puts into perspective how large some of the Morrison Formation ornithopods truly were. Other highlights include things like the Utah Raptor animatronic. When I was younger, it used to be completely naked. It was a pretty outdated portrayal of Utah Raptor. But nowadays, they have put feathers on it, which I think is awesome. It's a nice attention to detail and, a way to kind of keep things a little bit more updated and a little bit more accurate. But let me tell you, this animatronic used to terrify me when I was younger because look at what it's doing to that sauropod. That's horrifying. At least the first time I saw it, it would terrify me. But as I got older, it wasn't as bad. The Dilophosaurus animatronic is still here, but it doesn't seem to be working. At least I didn't really see any movement present with it. It does seem a little bit worse for wear. Like, you can really tell its age here. When I was younger, it used to spit water at you. Like if you stood on a bridge, it would spit water at your direction, which is likely a reference to Jurassic Park, as of course Dilophosaurus spits venom in that movie, which is something that Dilophosaurus could not do in real life. But there are some things that are accurate about this animatronic, like the fact that it's huge. It's a huge portrayal of Dilophosaurus, which is always awesome to see, and the crests look really cool, and it has like small amounts of feathers on it, which is very fun to see. You also do have like an Allosaurus skeleton that's kind of posed in an outdated way, which is always something that's really fun to see because it's cool to see how far we've come. You have this Allosaurus with more of like an upright stance dragging its tail around, which is obviously not what we know about the animal today. Nowadays, we know it's a little bit more horizontal with its tail held off the ground, but it's fun to see those outdated depictions. There was also a Pachyrhinosaurus skull. I was happy to see that because Pachyrhinosaurus is it's my favorite ceratopsian, and it's one of my favorite dinosaurs all around. Like it's such a cool dinosaur, and to be able to see like this cast of this skull up close was so cool. I was so happy to see that. Another new face here was the Diabloceratops skull. That was something that I definitely don't remember being here in the past unless I have a poor memory. But that was really cool to see. The old animatronic Triceratops was still here, and the giant replica of a T-Rex head was also still here. So all around, there was a lot of very cool things in this museum that I haven't been to in a decade. So I was so happy to finally be able to step foot in this place again. Oh, and also I found this shirt. It's the meme. It's the Velociraptor meme. So this was a great first stop on the trip, and it was like a nice trip down memory lane. I was so happy to finally see this place again. Our next stop was located in Moab, Utah, and it's known as Moab Giants. Now, this is a very cool place. This was actually my wife and I's second time going here because we went back in 2021 or 2020, around that time. It's a giant like area that you can hang out and like check out some dinosaur things. There's a very cool museum present, and there's a really cool dinosaur walk that has all kinds of statues and the like. I obviously made a full video talking about this place specifically, so I won't go into too much depth right here. But all I can say is that it's very cool. Obviously, the statues are not 100% accurate, but it's a really cool experience to see something that's so detailed and has had a lot of work placed into it in the statues, you know, like it's just really cool to see them up close in that way, especially something like the T-Rex that had huge scale to it. Like these guys were absolutely massive. The museum was really fun as well. There was a lot of really cool things to do in there. And there's other things to do like a cafe and an aquarium that my wife and I did not go to this time because we were kind of pressed for time, but we did go last time. And it's a very cool experience where you get to see basically like these screens of like aquatic creatures that once lived in the oceans. There's also a theater that we also didn't stop to because it was showing the documentary known as T-Rex, which is a documentary that we already saw at the Denver Museum like a year ago or something like that. So yeah, Moab Giants is a very fun stop that I highly recommend if you love dinosaur statues, which who doesn't love dinosaur statues? They're very cool. Now, the next stop is probably my favorite. We were not planning on going here, but I received a comment from Vintage Paleo Art on Instagram that recommended going to the Dinosaur Museum in Blanding, Utah. I checked Google Maps and it was only an hour away from Moab, which is where we were currently staying. And I was like, let's do that. Let's go and do that. This is a museum that I've never heard about before, and some of the images looked really cool. And let me tell you, I am so happy that we did. So again, to reiterate, it was located in Blanding, Utah. It has easily become one of my absolute favorite museums that I have ever been to. There's an awesome mix of awesome fossil replicas and amazing sculptures, such as this Allosaurus. I saw some replicas of really cool dinosaurs like Plateosaurus, who is still in the vintage and outdated quadrupedal pose. You can see it breaking its wrists. There was a Herrerasaurus, a Dilophosaurus in the wall, and some non-dinosaurs like Lystrosaurus and Esteminosuchus, two things that I absolutely loved to see. There was a lot of images that showcase some more vintage reconstructions of dinosaurs, including some models of the awesome Crystal Palace statues. One of my favorite things about this museum was the focus on dinosaurs in cinema, which is something that I love to dive into through series like my many interpretations of. This place had a section dedicated to stop motion, which included a replica of the 1933 King Kong T-Rex, as well as these very sick wooden carvings that had an insane retro-style Spinosaurus. At least I assume it is. I mean, look at it. But isn't that cool? That's awesome. There was also a very cool room of amazing things like these old Deinonychus reconstructions paired with their more modern, accurate counterparts. And don't even get me started on this Therizinosaurus. It is huge, covered in feathers, has a face only a mother could love, and it was just awesome. Surrounding these fellas were all kinds of dinosaur movie posters throughout history, including a foreign poster of the Valley of Guanji that gives him an Ankylosaurus back, which is something that I just thought was interesting. The museum held so many other amazing things like this Styracosaurus or this Suchomimus, and this Edmontosaurus mummy replica. This museum was seriously just so cool, and I can't believe that I had never heard of it before. Obviously, there's way more things present here, but I don't want to like give everything away. Let me just say that this is easily like climbed the ladder of becoming one of my favorite all-time museums. I mean, King Kong was there. Like, that's cool. That's very cool. I loved it here, so thank you so much, Vintage Paleo Art, for recommending this place. It was perfect that it was close to where my trip was being planned, so I was able to, like, you know, go off and you know, check it out, because I didn't really have anything else planned that day, so everything else kind of just meshed together quite nicely. Also, there was some Dinochirus arms and some Tarbosaurus, like a Tarbosaurus skeleton. It was a very cool museum. I could probably go on and on about the stuff that they had because it was just so jam-packed. I loved it. Again, thank you for the recommendation. Obviously, while we're in Moab, Utah, there's one place that we always check out, that being Arches National Park. Now, this is not really dinosaur related, but I wanted to mention it because I do love going here, and the insane rock formations that you can find near Moab, Utah are just so cool, or just in Utah in general. There's like a lot of really cool places that you can visit in Utah that are similar to this. Arches are a great example. Like my sister and I, we hiked up to Delicate Arch, which is something that we always do. Looks amazing as usual. Obviously, there's Balancing Rock, which is this huge rock that's balancing on other rocks. It's very cool stuff. You know, Arches is always a fantastic place to go and check out. But nearby Arches National Park, there is Utah Raptor State Park, which is brand new. It was just established back in 2021. So it's like it's a place that I didn't know about until recently. And I quite like it. The visitor center does have some really cool like dinosaur exhibits like this Utah raptor skeleton, as well as some things from like Gastonia or Moabosaurus. It was just a nice little building for information. Obviously a little bit outside of Utah Raptor State Park, in between Utah Raptor State Park and Arches National Park, there are dinosaur footprints, which is a place that I've been to a lot. We've always like visited these footprints on our way out of Arches National Park. So I was very familiar with these footprints, and we always make a stop here. I did make a little short talking about them, but they're always something that's just very cool to visit. So Utah Raptor State Park, overall, very fun. Another great dinosaur themed thing to do. The day after we got back from our trip was the day that Primitive War was showing. So we kind of wrapped things up with Primitive War. You know, we kind of just like watched the movie. Obviously, I thought it was great. I have reviews up, some shorts about like non-spoilers, and I do have like a long form spoiler-filled review. Great movie. I quite liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. Recently, though, I might as well include this. I went to Dinosaur Ridge, located in Morrison, Colorado, near Denver, of course. And despite the fact that I've lived in Colorado my whole life, I've never actually been here. So I finally decided to tie that knot and go here, and it was great. You know, there's some really cool things in the parking lot, some awesome statues. There's a little exhibit hall that showcases a lot of like the history of Colorado and like the way that Colorado was at different points in the Mesozoic. And of course, the biggest draw to Dinosaur Ridge are the dinosaur tracks. You can either hike there or you can pay for a bus to go up there. I personally hiked up there and I saw all of the really cool tracks. There's some cool, like recently described lecking fossils, basically like these theropod scratches in the ground that are very consistent with modern day ground birds who do something similar to attract a mate. You know, it's like a dance. You basically have fossilized dances there. So that was awesome to see. There's obviously a ton of really cool trackways, including ornithopod tracks, theropod tracks, and crocodilian tracks. There's even possibly a dromaeosaur footprint, but not everybody agrees that that's actually a dromaeosaur track. Like there is some disagreement in that, but it's possibly a dromaeosaur footprint, which is rare if that's true. So this was a great stop. I'm glad that I finally got the chance to go here. And yeah, basically that's my dinosaur themed trip. I plan on doing more of these in the future because I want to start making more content that's focused on going out and doing dinosaur related things, because that's really fun content to me. Those are really fun videos to make. I was going to go to Salt Lake City to meet up with another dinosaur content creator, but I had some issues with my flight, so I wasn't able to go. But I do plan on going to Salt Lake City eventually. I'm going to visit the museums in Salt Lake City, and I'm going to be, possibly doing some things with some other with another dinosaur content creator. I won't reveal too much quite yet, but I'm hoping to do that sometime in the near future. But if you guys have any recommendations for places that you would like for me to check out, then I would love to have them, because again, I want this to be one of my focuses on this channel because it's just really fun to do. And I think it's a great way to reveal some cool dinosaur things that are just located in the US. Like there's a lot of very, very awesome things that we can dive into here. So leave those down below and I'll consider them, and hopefully I can form some trips around them. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. If you liked this video and you like dinosaur related things, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you on board. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.